So welcome back to this 4-part tutorial series where we're making that cool render that you just saw. And in this one, we're going to look at putting the final touches on and of course doing the lens flare. Now lens flares are super cool. We use them all the time in our projects and they just add that extra bit of realism and extra sort of depth to your scenes, which is super cool. Now we're going to be using the Flared add-on, which is a paid add-on in Blender, but it is really, really worth it. You can get some fantastic looks with it. And I found it's the best way to get lens flares working inside of Blender. And as you can see here, there's some pretty cool examples. So the link will be down in the description below to get this add-on. So yeah, let's get cracking. So I'm just gonna split this scene here. Right click there and split it. Just gonna put my viewer over there and put this here and just turn on my overlays so I can see what's going on. And yes, it's super simple to do. So all you need to do is once you've downloaded it, if you go into Edit, Preferences, and you go into Add-ons, and you click Install, and you just find your Flared add-on and double click on that, that's going to bring this up. And then just make sure this is checked here to enable the add-on. Once you've downloaded and installed the add-on, you will be able to see the Flared tab here in the side. And you can just bring this menu up by pressing N, and it's going to bring up this lovely little box here. Now what you're going to need to do is select your camera with this eyedropper here, so just drop that on the camera so it's there, and then you need to select your light source as well, so you can just click on your light there or you can find it in the side there, and then if you click on this box here you get a choice of flares to choose from. And yeah, you can choose between a bunch of flares which come with the pack. If you buy the sort of cheap one, you get these ones up here, or if you get the XT version, you get all these extra flares here. So I'm just going to use this one from the basic pack. And then you just have to click the plus button. And you can see that sort of put a lens flare in straight away, which is really cool. And you can see what it does is it just puts a bunch of sort of foreground elements in front of your camera, like loads and loads and loads of these planes. And the really cool thing about this add-on is that if you move your light or you move your camera, that flare is going to be tracked to it, which will give you a really, really cool flared effect. The only thing is right now it's not properly working. You can see there's some like darker spots here. And just to make sure that that works, all you have to do is turn up the transparency light bounces in your scene. So if you drop down to the render properties here on the side, go into light paths and find the transparent setting here and just turn that to something like 100. You can see those will now become sort of see-through and you get your lovely lens flare, which is really cool. I mean, that's the essential part of it, really. That's getting your lens flare in the scene. It's as simple as that. Of course, it gives you all this sort of junk here, and it's nicely put it in a collection for you, which I'll put in the lighting collection, which is quite nice because if you're in your viewport shader, obviously, you can't see anything, or if you go in this one, it adds a bunch of junk. So it's quite nice. You can just turn that off in your viewport if you don't want to see that and you just want to work normally without all those bits and bobs. And now we can just basically change a few things on it just to make it work with our scene a little better. So first of all, I'm just going to make this bigger. Now changing the focal length basically will just change how big and how stacked these elements are. So I'm just going to change that a little bit to get this nice glow in the corner. And I'm probably going to reduce this glow here at the top left hand side because it's a bit crazy. So I can just take the glow emission and turn that down and that'll make that dimmer. And I can also take the glow scale down and that'll make it smaller, which is going to be better. I think I'll take the emission down even further so it's a bit crazy. And the same goes with the rest of the sort of effects here. So the streaks, you can't quite see them, but you get a good idea of kind of where they are here. If we look at the viewport, they're these sort of long horizontal streaks. So again, you can sort of just play with those how you like. They don't really do much in this scene. Again, with the sunbeam, let's see. It's just a matter of sort of playing around with this and seeing what you think is the best. I'm actually going to make this bigger so I can see what I'm doing. And then the ghost scale, that will be these nice colorful bits here. I might increase the number of them a little bit. And then, yeah, you can see them there. Actually, I'll turn it up so I can see what they're doing. Maybe we don't want so many. Maybe something like that. I'm just going to turn the scale down. To about that, and I'm going to just turn the emission down as well because they're a little crazy. I think I want this to be more of a subtle effect on this one. And then there's the dirt amount as well. Now dirt will just add these kind of like splotches to your camera, which can look quite nice. Again, I don't think I want that too strong. And yeah, maybe actually I'm going to turn this one down a bit more. Turn the streak emission down a bit more. And the sunbeam emission down. I don't want this to be super strong of an effect because it's quite a dark scene. So I don't want it to be too overpowering. Sometimes you might want your lens flares to be stronger, but I think in this occasion, I want them quite dim. So I'm just going to turn down the dirt amount as well, because I don't want it to take away from this cool scene that we've made. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Now, currently we don't have a camera move in our scene, and I think it's quite cool to see this lens flare moving. So we can move the lighting, but we can also move the camera, and it's going to sort of affect the tracking of the lens flare either way. So if I jump back here and I split to my view again, vertical split, and then do. So yeah, I think I'm going to do a super simple camera move. I'm just going to have it sort of push into this scene. So I think I want it to end about where it is. So I'm just going to go to my end frame here and then press with the camera selected K. Now in the new version of Blenders, it's K instead of I. They've just changed that. So if you're in Blender 4.1 or above, just keep that in mind. So I'm just going to press K, location, and then shift left arrow to bring it back to the start here. And if I press GZZ, it's going to allow me to move my camera sort of on that axis as well. Maybe to back there. And K, location. Now my camera's going to push in as my scene sort of evolves, which is cool. And I don't really want to see this light. I'm going to move the light as well to create some more movement. But before I do, let me just make this camera move linear as well. I don't want it to accelerate and then slow down. And actually, if we go into the graph editor, you can see, if I press A and number pad dot, you can see that it's going to start slow, speed up, and then slow down again. Like this. I want a continuous camera move, so I'm just going to press T and linear. This gives this sort of continual camera move in, and again I can turn this off. Yeah, you know what, let's leave the camera as it is, but what I do want to do is animate this light because I don't want to see the point where the light is either. So let's have it end here because I think this is quite nice. So if I just go to my M frame and do K and location, and I go to the start frame and I move it, something like that could be cool. So it's going to move up through the scene, and I do K location. And that's going to put a lot of movement into our lens flare as well, which would be really cool. And you can see there, the light sort of moves up. So if I turn my flared add-on back on, you can see that flare is coming from the side where that light point is. And it moves up with the camera. Ooh, it's just coming in frame there. So I might just move that out. Let's see, actually if I press T and make this also linear, maybe we won't see it. Sure, that'll do. You don't quite see the camera if you make that move also linear, which, yeah, if you go into the graph editor again, you can see now that's linear. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's your lens flare on top of your shot. So yeah, it's as easy as that to add a lens flare to your scene. If you want to see how we made the rest of the scene, jump back in the series. There's 3 other videos on how we created it, how we added the volumetrics, and how we did the atmospheric particles. But using that combination of techniques will help make your renders look next level, which is really, really cool. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, and if you have any questions down in the comments section below, and I'll try and answer as many as I can. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.